Mexico City plays host to round 4. Revo back on pole from Jonathan Sims and teammate CC. Following them is Daniel Baltasarov and Akari Lopez. Sebastian Ocampo starts 6th from Cable and Vastian Tan. Then it's Leo starting 9th, Lewis Olsen in 10th, and T. Gabo. Oscar Folstad down in 12th, Babness Jr., Pierre Gasly, Jack Carter, P. Sierra, Anok Yui, Daf Sanchez in 18th, Santino Milan, Tommy, followed by Cosmos and Miguel de Souza. Well then, with upgrades being made to the DS and Honda powertrains, Revo on pole, followed by Sims. All 5 lights go on! And we go green for the Mexico City Prix, on board with Tommy off the line as he's in the slipstream of the Andretti of Santino Milan. Not Santino Milan, that's Sanchez in front of him. Sims coming into the first chicane with the inside line. Further back, we saw a 5-second time penalty for Gabo. Looked like a car sliding into the wall when CC there. Almost thought we saw the Braun Honda of Cable spin for a second there, and he does have damage. Gabo's dropped to 8th position, but Jonathan Sims has taken the race lead away from Revo. And with DS Automobiles finally getting the upgrades they need, that is not what they wanted to see. Daf Sanchez giving himself a 5-second time penalty. The Philippine driver in the number 72. Finally with upgrades that should see him be a lot more competitive as they now come through the chicane. Revo taking the orthodox line. They've gone very deep through the chicane. Has the Sims Motorsport driver of CC as on to lap 2 we go. Looking with Vastian Tan rounding the final turn as CC setting up. Coming into the pits, gonna say was setting a fastest sector or something like that, but no, he was coming into the pits. Hopefully they can set a fastest pit stop instead of a lap. But Cable all over the back of Sebastian Ocampo in front of him. Just going to touch on the 2 Mahindra drivers of Inokui and Cosmos. Speaking of drivers in that part of the pit field, Sierra, who has won many races, he's out of this race. Virtual safety car. CC hoping it was a full safety car, but unfortunately teams and drivers have agreed not to resume that practice. But for Aurelio Mahindra, this is going to be their last season. Virtual safety car is ending and we go back racing as Mahindra, they will become Mercedes EQ. That's right, Mercedes returning to the championship once again as Folstad looking to try and get past Lewis Olsen in front of him. These two both Norwegian drivers, and he's at the back of him. That's the reigning World Drivers Champion who's just collided with the man known for barely scoring points. There are rumours swirling that one of the Sims Motorsport drivers is going to lose their seat to Lewis Olsen as Inokui gets past Oscar Folstad. But further up front, Revo closing in on Sims, and another virtual safety car, this time for Jack Carter. And front wing debris on the track for Carter, that is. Day over, race over, and indeed the same track where his championship hopes pretty much died last season. Let's hope we're going to die once again with his teammate currently in second. In this race, I'd say your best bet is to be within a second of first place. If not that, please be in the top 10 because otherwise you're going to struggle tons. Cable soft tyres beginning to feel the pain at the end of lap 3. You can see little grooves forming in those tyres. That's going to show a lack of grip, especially at the front. And also the rears, it seems. CC setting a faster second sector of anyone barreling into the chicane, trying to keep it out of the walls. That's the main question. Can you keep it out of the wall? As you can see, Bravo sandwiched between 2 blue and yellow cars, but they're not of the same team. Cable I thought he hit the wall, but it was Leo who went into the barriers. Out of the race has gone Lewis Olsen. Oh, looked like Falstad was following him because he's lost his front wing as well. So Falstad's going to have to come in. Leo's going to have to come in. I'm going to have to shut my door for a second as we're under virtual safety car. Again, my brother playing with some pretty goddamn loud RCs. With 13 laps to go, Sims is leading the way. It's his second race in a row where he's been leading, but now he's got Revo all over the back of him. Might actually want to try and get past, but no, Sims dives into the pits. Out of the race has gone Leo alongside Babinus Jr. Oh dear, looks like it was just 2 into 1 not going well. U-Cable pits as well. I envision a loss of drivers coming into the pits at the end of this lap, but that's going to save Revo a little bit of pain when he comes through the chicane, because of course when you're going through full speed with low grip, that wall on exit is way too close for these cars to continue racing. Way too close. But we go back racing then as we watch T. Gallo come through that chicane. Oh, that's Pierre Gasly and Cosmos wall riding there. But that's Gasly's day over. Pierre Gasly out of the E3 as we're on board with Cosmos, and his soft tyres absolutely shot like a bullet went through him. That's his day done. And with the virtual safety car ending, Revo leading away from Ocampo and Akari, that's a top 3 comprised of only champions. Only champions are in the top 3. Revo, can he keep it out of the wall? He does. He went so close to the grass. Running over it is an overstatement. Oh, behind him! T-Gabo out of the race. Sims weaving like a madman. The top 3 almost certainly all going to have to come into the pits at the end of this lap. Dav Sanchez is the only man out there with reasonable tyres. Revo and Akari both come in. Ocampo stays out. Sims inherits second. Revo coming out of the pits. Can he be ahead of Daniel Bogdasarov? That right there is the pit lane exit, and he is ahead just about. Revo in P3 in front, and virtual safety car Sebastian Ocampo. Sebastian Ocampo out of the E3. There he is on the wall, and he probably should have come in with his fellow champions. They were doing a little bit of simulations here as well, just to try and hone in what would be the perfect speed, the perfect maximum speed and settings for all the cars to make sure that they didn't barrel into turns. Doesn't look like it's worked out too well, because on lap 6 we've lost over 6 drivers. Looking back with Jonathan Sims, he currently leads in Mexico. Last time I can remember a driver winning their first race was Tom in Season 1. Tom O'Connor winning Mexico City E3 from B-Dragon Sonic after the latter got a time penalty with 10 laps left to run. 10 laps! I don't think these guys are going to make it through these next 10. We hope they'll make it through the next 10, but I'm not too sure. We got on board with Sims, going through that chicane, going in quite deep. Same with Revo. Bogdasarov with U-Cable close behind him. Don't really want to be close behind any other driver, especially if they get into a little bit of an incident. We look to Santino Milan in 9th position. Cosmos and Tommy fighting over position, and that's into the wall goes Oscar Fulstad. Fulstad and Cosmos fighting over 10th. And it looks like Cosmos is going to take that position because Fulstad's lost part of his front wing. He's going to have to come into the pits. And the DS McLaren TGR driver, who has just come off the back of a World Drivers and Constructors Championship, well, for a slap back to reality, I don't think he would have wanted anything close to the season he's currently having. As Akari and a not QE, about 2 seconds away from each other. That's 2 Aurelio-powered cars. As Revo with the new fast lap, 102, he's going to get attack mode going down the straight. Can he take the position? And this is Revo, the season 16 and 17 champion, winning from Jonathan Sims. Sims is out of this race. It'll be another close but no cigar moment for Sims Motorsport, attempting to take the first race win in their history. But today will not be that day. With 9 laps left to run, Jonathan Sims is out of this race. And Falstad has just come out of the pit, so on board with the number 1 for DS McLaren TGR. You know, for the number 1 to be running at the back of the pack, this is one of the single worst title defenses I've ever seen in the history of this championship. Bogdasarov all over the back of Revo. UK Ball trying to close in and make that fight for the lead just ever so more enticing. The top 5 has 3 World Drivers' Champions between them, but we see now with Akari, he's got attack mode, he's closing in, gaining on his countryman, gaining on 4th position, and he has taken it. Akari takes 4th position, and we've got yellows in the first sector for Revo, and out of the race has gone UK Ball! UK Ball's out of the race! Revo's got front wing damage! Does he have to pit? He probably would have had to pit on this at the end of this lap either way, but that's just accelerated the procedure. Bogdasarov is on his tail. He would dearly love to get past him. This is 2 French powered cars. It's a battle between DS automobiles and the much faster starting and Renault powertrain behind that Renault Edams car, but on board with Revo. His tyres beginning to show their age, and he's out! Revo out of the Prix, and the championship leader. Oh, he's faced issues as well. Bastien Tan colliding with Bogdasarov. Akari takes the lead, but without a front wing. And Revo's crash there has just triggered an anomaly of events. Bogdasarov pits, Yui pits, Bastien Tan leads this race, but with a 5-second time penalty to his name, it's carnage in Mexico. The Dia de los Muertos is upon us as we go back racing. I know it means Day of the Dead, but I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Half the field is out, and that's Bastien Tan wall riding. Akari coming down the straight. Track's been cleared, they say, but that front wing is still there. Tommy's coming to the pits, looking back with Bogdasarov. Through the chicane they come, and oh, airborne for Cosmos. And he's hit the wall twice. He's lost his front wing as well. Oh, wall riding for CC as well. This is not Sims Motorsports' day. Falstad weaving through that end of the chicane. Half the field is still here. As we look to Santino Milan now, Dav Sanchez and Tommy coming through that chicane. As this part of the track, never one that you want to come in without grip. Out goes Bastien Tan. Virtual safety car called. And that leads Akari into taking the lead of the C3. 10 drivers still in this race. As it would stand, every man who finishes this race would score points. It would be double points for Aurelio Mahindra. It would be, yeah, it's just them who have 2 cars finishing at this point. It would be a race win for Akari, as in comes Cosmos. We go back racing on lap 11 of 17, 6 laps to go. Can these drivers survive 6 laps? This feels like a Golden Age Arava video. Bogdasarov gaining on Akari Lopez. We're on board with an Ocuri, who soft seem to be doing quite well. Miguel de Souza in 4th position, looking for one of his career best finishes. On board with Santino Milan we were in Nissan, and there's not actually too much more I can say. With the amount of collisions and wrecks and trivial crashes that we've seen today, all I can really do is look through the field. But Bogdasarov, yeah, at attack mode there, he's going to have to try and get past Akari on the next lap of this race. If he can just get attack mode again. on board with Daniel Bogdasarov. He's got attack mode there, and he's now closing in on the Season 15 champion, closing in on the Pinnacle Motorsport man. And he's just not close enough to make the move as they come through the chicane, just about keeping it out of the wall, but of course, dirty air. Oh, that's a massive shunt for an QE. He's lost his front wing coming through that chicane, so that's going to hinder him coming through the final sector of the track. It's a very short sector, it's the final one. And Santino Milan, he spun on the front wing. Dav Sanchez out of this race, running over it, presumably. And we're down to 9 drivers in this race. Oh my god. We've got 5 laps left to run. We're definitely going to have drivers finishing this. It's just going to be very hard to. Bogdasarov is definitely gaining on the back of Akari Lopez. He's going to take attack mode, undoubtedly. We're on board with the QE, struggling with grip, keeping it on the track despite his struggles with grip. Bogdasarov doesn't have attack mode. He's got a pretty good slipstream, but it's not going to be enough if he's a second back. The QE peels into pit lane. And I am just keeping my eyes on... Oh! Bogdasarov hits the wall! I was keeping my eyes on the minimap as well as the track. But now Bogdasarov without a front wing. Miguel de Souza running over that and shedding his front wing as well. Just about gets out of the wall, and there's now a front wing on both ends of the track, on board with Cosmos in 4th position. Coming through the chicane. Just about, I think, avoiding the front wing as much as he could. It's not that hard to avoid if it's off the racing line by miles. Akari Lopez leading this race, 1.5 seconds ahead of Daniel Bogdasarov, whose grip is negative, and his race is over. Bogdasarov is out of the Mexico City Prix. With 3 laps left to run, the championship leader is out. If it finishes as it does, as it is right now, Akari, for the first time since season 15, is going to lead the championship. But Miguel de Souza's come in. Those are medium tires going on. The clouds are coming over. Don't tell me we're going to have rain in this race as well. This has been one of the most hectic, crazy races we'll hopefully ever see in this championship. And I just want these guys to finish this race at this point. I don't care if you have another incident. I just need all 8 of you to finish. As we're on board with Cosmos. Just about. Can he keep it out? He's in the wall. Running over his own front wing. Same with Tommy. Both slamming the wall hard. Track's been cleared. No real front wing damage, thankfully. But they are going to struggle through that final chicane at the end of the track. Ain't no way they're going to finish is the thing. We might see only 6 finishes today. Front wing still strewn across that part of the track. Cosmos on board with him. With 2 laps left to run. Cosmos coming through that chicane. Through the final sector. He's got no grip and he's out. Out of the race has gone Cosmos. Tommy coming through that chicane as well, but he's still in it. But he's going to have to pit as well. And, Santino Milan in 7th. It's going to become 6. We're down to 7 runners. And I do think this could be Akari Lopez. If he wins this, I'm just going to place my bets on this right now. There are only going to be 5 drivers who finish this race, and Akari Lopez is going to win, and he's going to lead the championship. I'm going to lock that prediction in right now. I have no clue if it'll become true, but let's just find out. As Volstad, that's a very, very bad crash. On board with Volstad we were. He's out of this race now. If you can even call it that, I'd call it more. The Geneva Convention getting completely ignored. 6 laps left to run. Virtual safety cars ending. We go back racing. Again, if you can really call this that. Zachary Lopez coming through that chicane on board with him. As Inoki, he's trying to close in on Miguel D'Souza. But again, not too sure if you want to lead this race, if you want to be in this race on the penultimate lap now. And we're only looking at 6 drivers finishing, so that's a minimum point score of 8. There's going to be a massive swing in the point standings after this race. And you know what? If this is the race that leads to Dragon being a, quote, competitively viable team for the championship, then I'm all for it. We've had so many crashes today. As on board with Tommy then. It's a bit of a nail-biter of a finish here. We're just hoping that all the drivers can make it through this race cleanly. Oh, CC might have problems come the final lap. Zachary Lopez still leading this race. On the penultimate lap of this race, he comes through the stadium section. Almost hitting the wall. But he's got the entirety of Mexico cheering him home. Just hoping that he can finish this race. On to the final lap of the Mexico City Prix. Zachary Lopez is leading the way from Miguel D'Souza and Inoki, the top 3. He comes to the chicane and is out! Zachary Lopez is out of the Prix. And at the last moment, Miguel D'Souza is now your race leader. Dragon Racing could win a race this season. I need to reiterate that. Dragon Renault Racing, the team that last season were the perennial backmarkers of this championship. The team that last season didn't even look like they could score points often, as we see Santino Milan struggling, CC in the wall losing part of his front wing. The team that only just re-entered the championship last season, mainly due to how hard it is to make their livery. But coming through the stadium section, Miguel D'Souza, his plight has been tough. We're gonna have a driver from Brazil win a race as Inoki's out. 4 drivers finish the Mexico City Prix. Miguel D'Souza wins. Tommy coming through the stadium section, hopefully second from Santino Milan and CC. And those are your finishes. Nothing else, really. My God, this was painful. The implications on both championships for this race is going to be absolutely mad. Miguel D'Souza wins in Mexico. I believe this is his first race win, so that's something to take away. Tommy is second from Santino Milan and third, then it's CC, the rest of your finishers. Lowest score for a driver in this race was 12. 12 points. So in the World Driver Standings, P. Sierra leads the way from Santino Milan and Zachary Lopez, and it's down Baltasar, Jonathan Sims, Inoki, Miguel D'Souza, Leo, CC, Tommy, Revo, OT, Gabo, Baroness Jr., Cosmos, Falstad, Ucable, Ocampo, Olsen, Sanchez, Gasly, and Jack Carter, with Vasky and Tan being the only driver yet to score any points. In the Constructors Standings, heading into race 6 in Oslo, the night race, Nissan Nismo lead the way from Aurelio Pinnacle and Renault Edams. Then it's Sims Motorsport Nissan, Aurelio Mahindra, DS Venturi Formula E Team, Dragon Renault, DS Automobiles, Braun Honda GP, DS McLaren TGR, and Andretti Honda. We'll see you guys next time then for hopefully a much cleaner race from the Formula E Monopoly Championship.